Hello everyone, it's Wendy Irwin, and I am back after a short break, and oh my God, what amazing things happen with a little bit of an intentional break for your brain and your heart and your soul. And I am just getting on here because as a business coach, I understand that if you act on your inspiration, clarity will come. And here is the clarity that I got. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes because I've already put it out in the universe that my people are going to show up today because this message is for you guys. And I am so incredibly nervous and a little excited, which is always how I know I'm in the exact right place. But a lot of things have been happening since this past fall in my heart and in my wisdom and in my intuition and in my sphere of people. And I just wanted to get on here today, and I've already come out of the closet once with the woo, but the door is gumming wide open. So what I want to say is I want to send a message out to my people. And when I say my people, what I mean is those of us who feel deeply, those who us can enter a room and understand kind of what the dynamic emotionally is going on. Hey, Rebecca. My people are the ones that may have felt kind of isolated and alone most of their life, only because they couldn't find a representation, a tribe, so to speak, of people who thought like them, people who seemed a little wise beyond their years, people that didn't understand a lot of the stuff that was going on in people's lives that seemed so needlessly and unnecessarily dramatic. Having said that, that's really what I want to come on here today is to talk about the people I know that are out there that have always had this little voice inside them that has told them that the things they were seeing around them and the way things were behaving and people behaving, society behaving around them was not for them. And this can be incredibly isolating. It can make you feel, alone's not the good word. I'm thinking it makes you feel unseen. And I call these people my emotional athletes. And this is something I've been kind of thinking about for a while. You think about people who are really, really naturally born athletes. They know how to jump and run fast and hit balls, and their hand-eye coordination is amazing. And then you have these people that are kind of like intellectual athletes. You see this tangible representation of they can do math and science, and they invent things, and they come up with these really, really interesting, innovative ideas in industry and technology. And then you have what I call our silent emotional athletes, where are these people who will hold the space daily for people just to be and to be seen and heard. And these are our coaches and our therapists, our ministers, our tribe leaders, the people that can uniquely hold the space for someone and just see them for who they are. Those are my people. And the reason I say those are my people is because I'm that person. And it took me almost half my life to realize that I was surrounding myself with people who didn't see me. And so I am here to say, I see you, and you're not crazy. And on top of that, you are so incredibly important to the world, and you're so incredibly needed in the world that I am here. Hey, Patricia. Patricia's one of my people. You're so needed, especially right now, that it's frightening if you don't show up. So for me, when I say my emotional athletes, it's those people who instinctively know what's going to work for someone in a relationship, instinctively know what might work for society if they give it a chance. It's they see the inner workings of people's hearts and minds and souls in a clarity that isn't really available to a lot of other people. And in this space, there's a couple of things. One, we love to serve. We love to help. We love to solve problems. We love letting people kind of get to know themselves. Hey, Richard. Richard's one of my people. The coaches, the therapists, the leadership trainers, the people who understand instinctively and emotionally how to help people heal. So you could call them healers if you want. You could call them shamans. You could call whatever you want to call them. But here's what I want to say. It has come to me in the past few months that, yes, I'm a coach. Yes, I am a spiritual healer. Yes, I hold the space for all these people. But I am realizing that there is no one out there that I know who understands and talks to me like I need to be talked to. And so what I'm saying to you guys is I'm doing this to you, for you. We are emotional athletes. And what that means is that we have to treat ourselves like warriors and champions and the highest form of emotional intellect creatures that are out there possible. And what that means is, just like an athlete, you don't feed it junk food. So if you're an emotional athlete, the last thing you need to do is saturate your mind with all the negativity and the fear and the panic that's going on in the world. I stopped watching the news years ago. I figured if I need to know, someone will let me know. And it's changed my life. I have completely wiped majority of my social media of no one but therapists, healers, spiritual advocates, people like that, because when I scroll through my social media, it's a positive, happy time for me. Hey, Paula. Hi, Brian. I love coaching business owners who are conscious about what they do, because I know ultimately when you're having a consciously and aware person putting more conscious money out in the universe, that's just going to improve the universe. That doesn't make sense to everyone. And so that's why this message isn't for everyone. It's for the people who understand. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. It's for the people who understand. I want to be your mirror. I want to tell you that I understand that you have to open your heart up in order to do and use your gifts. And what that does is it leaves you open and vulnerable. So what that means is, don't put the junk food in. It means you serve without any expectations of anything in return, because that's how your gifts are expected to be used. Hi, Paula. Hi, Lance. So I know who those people are because I have spent my entire life collecting them. And I didn't even know I was collecting them. I just knew that I had a heart, a drawstring, a string from my heart to theirs, and I didn't know why. And I realized it's because these are the people who feel the universe around them. These are people who experience the universe around them. They don't logically process it like it was a machine and they were like it was data and they were a robot. They feel it, they absorb it, they process it, and then they put it back on the universe in the most positive way. Hi, Patricia. Patricia is definitely my person and my people too. So think about, if you were to think about yourself as this Olympic emotional athlete, how would you behave differently? If you had a group of people that saw you for what you were and honored you for what you were, how would you reach out for help? One of the things that I have realized in this journey is that it happens at an exponential rate. And so once you become aware and conscious of the stuff around you, it spirals upwards so quickly that it can make you dizzy. You go from huge amounts of growth and positivity and excitement to swinging to thinking you're depressed. And I'm realizing that, I've talked about grief before. It's really the grief of letting go of the old powerless you. And experiencing that over and over and over again for the past several years. And I realized what it is. It's like a bellows. And you know how a bellows, technically what you do is when you expand it, it pulls in the air. So it's pulling in the spiritual, it's pulling in the knowledge, it's pulling in the wisdom, it's pulling in all this stuff. And then when you compress it and you use it, it propels you forward. And that's when you make great strides in your projects, your content, your business, your manifestation of what you want out there. And then there's this other point where it's a contracting, where you're sucking in the data and the knowledge and the wisdom. And it happens so fast, it can make your head spin. And there are people out there who might even think that you're flaky because you can't seem to land on a business idea, or you have so many things going on in your head, you can't decide how to help and who to help first. And what a fantastic problem to have. So as an emotional athlete, I want you to think about, what are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your spiritual body? Are you putting junk in? And believe me, there's no judgment here. I binge watch, I do social media, but I also have noticed a huge direct correlation into my spirit, my psyche, and my mood, depending on what goes in. And it may not affect everyone as highly. It might. Maybe they're just really good at numbing out. I'm not good at numbing out anymore because I'm totally vulnerable, because that's what my clients need. That's what the people who I help and share my gifts with need. So I don't want to ramble, but I also wanted to leave enough space where I could download any sort of intuitive stuff that was going on. And one of the main things is that I feel that there's a great need out there for us to become mirrors for each other as feelers, emotional healers, as people who hold the space for each other in order to heal, grow, overcome addiction, love yourself, change your mindset, whatever, advance you in your faith, whatever that may be. And sometimes people are these people without doing that as a profession. Maybe it's just something you do naturally, but I want you to know that I see you, and I also want you to know that I understand. And I am wanting to start more of a dialogue here about those people with my people. So one of the things I've noticed is the day before I have these kind of epiphanies is I spiral downward, for lack of a better word, but I think it's just this intense contraction. It's almost like, they shrinking of a star. It's an intense contraction, and it's because I'm letting go of all the stuff. I'm letting go of the powerless version of me. I'm letting go of the powerless thoughts. And it looks a lot like grief. And then the next day, I have such clarity, such inspiration. And I'm wondering, you guys, if you are in this space, if you're in this awareness space, if you're in this self-growth space, if you find that happening to you. And, just because I hold the space for other people and I'm a coach doesn't mean I am not susceptible to this myself. If anything, though, it makes me keenly aware of the patterns in the process. So maybe some of you are going through a faith transition. Maybe you're growing in your faith. Maybe you're questioning your current position on your faith, whatever. But the deal is the change and the growth and the transition is so exponential, it can make your head spin and your emotions may seem like they're doing this. And that's also exactly what's supposed to happen. So if you were to think of yourself as an emotional athlete in training, hi, Michelle. If you think about yourself as an emotional athlete in training, what would you change? How would you look at your life different? For me, I have realized that I just have to learn to accept. Actually, I don't accept the lows. I celebrate the lows because I know on the other side of that comes amazing clarity, incredible power, and endless manifestation. And what I mean by that is that it means that my heart is in its purest place, and whatever I ask for will come to me, because that's what the universe ultimately wants. Now, I warned you there was some woo coming, and you know what? That's the way it works. But I want you to know that I feel like one of my gifts is to see you as someone who feels deeply, see you as someone's gifts that are invisible and therefore a lot of times go unnoticed and unvalued. And I'm here to tell you, especially in times like this, our gifts are invaluable. You cannot put a price on it. And the reason I know that is because I'm looking for someone to help me as well. Because I know in order to sustain this growth, I have to keep in good fit form. I have to practice every day. I have to put good things in my body. I have to make sure that if I'm pushing myself too hard, I rest. Just like you would an athlete, except that we are wielding invisible muscles. And our invisible muscles are just as important, if not more important, than our physical muscles. Because you know what? That whole saying, mind over matter, is really true. You can overcome anything as long as this and this is in the right space and feeling good and healthy. And that's why times like this, it's really, really important, because a lot of people out there are drowning in the toxicity that is the politics, the media, the financial stress, the uncertainty. There's people out there drowning. And even if you're not a coach or therapist or minister or whatever, if you know that this is kind of the space you hold emotionally, it's time for you to step up. It's time for you to be seen. Hi, Kim. It's time for you to stop and say, this is who I am. I want you to know that I see you. I want you to know that I know you're hurting. And I also want you to know that it does not dim your power one tiny bit. And I don't know about you, but if I heard that message, it would change my day. Hi, Kim. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, I know, but I just wanted to make sure that once I got inspired, I got out here and I kind of just stepped out and told you guys what I'm feeling. But I really want you to think of yourselves, and I'm copywriting this, I'm posting it and copywriting this because this is a book idea, that as emotional champions, emotional athletes, how are you going to show up different? How are you going to show up in the arena of life now that you know this about yourself? Instead of accepting the mantle of you're too sensitive or you're emotional, well, fuck yeah, I'm emotional. I'm an emotional creature. I'm a spiritual creature. And I'm also a physical creature. And I'm a mental creature. It's just that I pull a little more on my emotional side. And the only reason I do that is because it's never failed me. Just like people who pull on their physical or logical side, they feel like it hasn't failed them either, so they pull with that. I'm here to tell you I am on your team with that, and I am so ecstatic. I hope that you guys will reach out on privately and just say, listen, I've been feeling these things, but I didn't know how to articulate them, and I would love to have this conversation because I want to build my tribe of emotional athletes. And I also want to encourage you guys to understand the power that you wield. It just because it's invisible does not mean it's not important. And just because a lot of times society makes you feel less than because of it, they're flat out dead wrong. Because at this point, the tribe leaders, the shaman, the villagers, we are basically the medicine men, the medicine women, the crones, the witches, whatever you want to call them. I don't really believe in any of those names. They're just labels. It's your spiritual conduits. And that's who I'm talking to right now. The people who are spiritual conduits to this power in this earth and in this universe. So I'm just going to start with that. I may get back on tomorrow with something else, but I want you to know that I see you. I love you. And I want you to know too that you are important. So please, please, please share your gifts freely because that's what they're there for. And if this didn't make any sense, well, I'm sure I'll hear about it. But I just want you to know that I felt called to say that today. And I felt called to kind of stick my flag in the dirt, so to speak, saying that I want to start this journey with you guys. And I want you to come with me. I will talk to you soon. Bye.